What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/SingularityRevenge 2, because we are continuing the story that we left off on. And yes, get excited because it gets good. Alright guys, here we have the exciting conclusion to the amazing story we started in the previous, hopefully, video. Alright, so it gets exciting from here on, okay? And in case you don't know, the story's called Treat Me Like Dirt for Years? I'll expose you at your wedding and let your mental breakdown do the rest. And if you want a recap, do some memory exercises because goodness gracious, you need help. Anyway, without further ado, petty revenge mode activated. I was pissed. The self-centered cow cared more about a collage and a photo album and didn't even say thank you for it. I proceeded to spend over an hour messing with the photos, making Sally and Robbie look cross-eyed, changing the color of clothes to really undesirable colors, and photoshopping in props into photos. It wasn't going to be noticeable at first glance, but would be goofy looking once you looked closely at them. I wish that's where this all ended. The wedding came, she learned her lesson. But unfortunately, Sally isn't the type of person to take responsibility and accept the consequences. Oh no, she ain't. About 2 hours into my goof improvements, my phone began to blow up. Friends that I had made in college were calling, texting, and messaging me off the hook. It was pandemonia. I was totally confused as to why my phone was blowing up, and since I was getting called constantly, I couldn't investigate. I had to shut my phone down for half an hour and wait until people calmed down and stopped calling me so I could figure out what was going on. I found out quickly. Sally had posted a full conversation of messages containing racial, misogynistic, and anti-religious tones, with my name as the recipient, all over her social media accounts. I was livid. She had framed me as a hateful hooligan and had over 100 messages on Facebook Messenger who were all pissed and confused. It didn't help that Sally's family were heavily religious, leading them to be more aggressive towards me with multiple threats of death being thrown in. I immediately got to work screenshotting the actual conversation, in which some sane people had calmed their anger and began asking questions. It still left me with a near 100 people on the verge of beginning a crusade against me and even my family. It got so out of control that I had to call the police to help clear up the situation and had to contact Facebook to help with damage control. It took a week for the situation to calm down, with the police concluding that the conversation, which had been uploaded, was a fake. Unfortunately, they were unable to have a warrant for her arrest as no threats of violence had officially been made. But they were able to place a restraining order upon her as she had slandered my name. I was done. She wanted to ruin my life, so I would ruin her to make even. Nuclear revenge mode activated. I went back to the collage and slideshow for further additions. I reached out to past friends of hers asking for anything cruel or mean she had said. They graciously obliged and sent me everything. This included every single drunk nude saying she was bored of Robbie and wanted to get wrecked by a real man. Every time she thought her Bible-bashing family were irritating her with their religious crap and just wanted them to donate her money. One friend had an entire paragraph of racist insults from a drunk rant. I think the most disgusting comment came from a cousin of hers who we'll dub as Alice. She sent me several screenshots of texts from her saying, and I quote, "Why can't you stop being selfish and just give me your grandfather's inheritance, you stuck-up horse? Do you know how much me and the baby need that money ever since Robbie stopped giving me his debit card details?" I was disgusted at that one. I was grinning like a demon when I was complete with this masterpiece. I had saved this edit to the website they would download it from and waited. I was counting on the fact that they would be too preoccupied with most other wedding-related stuff to bother checking out the slideshow and collage. The one little hiccup in this plan was I was no longer welcome at the wedding, so I didn't know how badly it would go. The day before the wedding, I told Alice what I had done, and she was pretty satisfied about it. So as a token of my appreciation for her sharing, I asked if she would like to come and stay with me for the night, to which she accepted, and we had a pleasant night together. The result: we woke up in the afternoon after expecting one of our phones to be exploding with calls or texts, but nothing, absolutely nothing. Alice called Sally's mother and sisters, but no one was picking up. She then called a friend who attended the wedding, who I'll call Mel. After a couple of calls, she finally answered the phone. Alice immediately asked how the wedding was going, to which Mel began a FaceTime. It connected, showing me Alice on her own at the altar as Robbie had stormed off, seething with rage, leaving her with multiple projectors revealing the texts about her family, friends, and general horrible comments. I recognized a particular text being shown, as it contained her disbelief and disdain for her family's religion. The screenshot then transitioned to a nude photo of her posing with her legs wide open, inserting a carrot in her lady hole. It was disgusting. Like, it made me feel repulsed and disturbed looking at it. I am so sorry to all of the unfortunate guests of that wedding. That was a horror of a nude. As you can imagine, the screenshots and nudes had disgusted and pissed off a lot of the people there, especially the pastor. I've never seen a pastor get angry before, but it was terrifying, even from a FaceTime call. He began ranting at her, full-on screaming in her face, saying, "You are a disgusting, selfish girl with no love in your heart for your husband or your family, let alone the Lord, which you have mocked and insulted. You are no longer welcome in the house of our Lord. Get up!" Unfortunately, that was all I saw through the call, as Mel had ended it, but had described the hell which broke loose as soon as the pastor tore her up. She was in tears, with her family and friends calling her a horse, a bimbo, and scum, among other things, whilst waddling down the aisle trying not to fall over. She exited the church and squeezed herself in the limo, bawling tears at that point, looking like a melting Barbie doll, all the while being taunted and mocked by her extremely pissed off two-faced friends.
Most people just got in their cars and went their separate ways after that dumpster fire of a ceremony,
said Mel. At that point, I felt fulfilled and had showed everyone how much of a bimbo Sally was. I was so happy. In fact, I asked Alice if she would like to go on a date, to which she agreed and had a wonderful day, knowing Sally's had been ruined. That's where I thought this revenge had ended. Nope. May 2019. I was going about my day seeing an old friend about my 22nd birthday plans when I got a Facebook message from Robbie. He asked if I could meet him in a town center on a Friday, to which I asked what he wanted. He reiterated he wanted to talk. So I requested if he could meet in the city for a Friday, and he agreed. I was puzzled as to why he had reached out to me now. We hadn't spoken in a year, so I was nervous as to what he wished to talk about. I went to meet him in the center with Alice, Mel, and my other best friend, who we will call Craig. He was sat on a bench alone with barely anyone walking around the center. He greeted us ominously, similar to the way Thanos talked to Iron Man, Cap, and Thor in Endgame. He looked skinny, but oddly happy, which kept us on edge. This was the conversation which followed. "Hello, my old friend. Thank you for coming, but I have to admit, I'm surprised you showed after what you did." "Yeah, me too. Look, I'm sorry for what happened. I know I can't." "No, I should apologize. You acted civil and respectful to the both of us, even when you were being disrespected and berated. I was love-blinded by Sally, and she abused that, turning me against you. If anything, I should thank you. You opened my eyes." "What do you mean?" He then began recounting the events of the wedding, during which I cut him off, telling him I knew what happened. He then dropped possibly the worst bombshell. "How did you find out about the miscarriage?" "What? You just said you knew what happened." I knew what happened up until Sally got into her limo after being shamed and cast out of the church. I tried to find out about the aftermath, but her family wouldn't tell me anything." "That's because her family disowned her. They were furious when they found out what she had said about them, especially when she mocked and disrespected the church. Oh my God. Literally. Where did she go? She went to the venue and had a complete mental breakdown. She went inside, crying, swearing, and ranting to the staff that she would kill you for what you had done. They called the police after that comment and locked her inside, whilst they made their way to the venue and called me to deal with her. When I arrived, she had destroyed the venue. Tables had been flipped, glasses had been shattered, and she had drunk multiple bottles of wine. She was so dangerous and out of control that the police had to wrestle her to the floor and call in a police van as she was too dangerous to put in a car. I was speechless at this point. It was a mess. It didn't help that she was 3 months pregnant trying to attack anyone that tried to subdue her, that they had no choice but to lock her in a cell for her own safety and others. At that point, we were completely stunned. We had seen her angry, but had not heard of her being this violent and out of control before. What happened to the baby? The amount of alcohol she had drunk had given her alcohol poisoning. According to the police, she was 4 times over the limit, and when they came to escort her from the cell, the floor was covered in vomit, feces, piss, and even some blood. She looked extremely ill and was taken to the hospital immediately, with 2 officers in tow. She was extremely ill. The hospital performed a number of tests and exams and had confirmed she was having simultaneous liver and kidney failure from her poor diet and sudden alcohol intake. This resulted in her unborn baby dying from blood poisoning, and Sally confined to a hospital bed on dialysis for life. Even if she receives an organ transplant, she will still have to return to the hospital weekly for dialysis to avoid death or coma. The part which really made me grin an evil smirk was hearing that even if she receives a transplant, she will be serving time in prison for assaulting multiple officers, as well as paying the venue thousands in damages. Her life has been completely ruined. Do I feel guilty? No. More oddly satisfied. Sorry for the length and any spelling errors or duplicates, autocorrect, within this tale, but it was personal and wanted you to understand the frustration and hatred that I was feeling throughout the years. Hope you enjoyed the conclusion as much as I did. Alright guys, I gotta say, I'm impressed. I'm not sure what I expected from Singularity Revenge. However, I'm happy with what I got. This whole post was a roller coaster, even though I knew I still had thousands of words left. There were points where I thought it was over, but no, it just escalated even more. What did you guys think? Did you like this format? Was it annoying? Should I stick to keeping things within one video? Let me know in the comments below. Alright, this story's called Today I Fudged Up by Getting My Wife to Buy the Birdseed. So I've spent the last 20 minutes hyperventilating with laughter, and I promised my wife I wouldn't tell anyone we know because she's a bit humiliated. So this is my way of getting it off my chest. Since lockdown, my wife and I have found a new appreciation of the garden. It isn't big, isn't pretty, but it's a way to get outside, and given the cabin fever we've experienced, this is a nice form of escapism. We've always had a bird feeder that we topped up periodically, but with us both working from home, we've enjoyed watching the birds come and go. We've got blackbirds, starlings, magpies, and more pigeons than you could count. After a while, we fed them by hand, and now we can even get a few of them to sit on our hand and eat. It's therapeutic in a weird way, and naturally, we've named some of them and so on. I really recommend it. #burps. Anyway, the wife asks a week ago if she can buy some more birdseed. I said sure, sounds good. I should add, my wife isn't from a country that uses the metric system, and she's still getting used to it over here. I was in the room whilst she put the order in and, well, maybe when she said,
"Oh, is it okay if I get a fair bit? It's cheaper that way." And, "Oh, a selection for wild birds. Should I get some of that too?"
I didn't do my due diligence. I thought, what the hell? It's not like it goes off. We can stick it in the garage. When she told me how much it was, I was shocked, but I assumed she got a few bits with the order. Again, she is still adjusting to the price of things over here, and everything is super expensive to her. So you can probably see where this is going. This morning, a delivery arrived. My first clue should have been the size of the van that pulled up outside my house, ready to deliver 4 sacks of 12.5 kilograms of birdseed. The delivery driver, from his safe social distance, lost his laughter as my mind melted as he pulled sack after sack off of his van. My wife was in a Zoom meeting, and when I finally got her attention, revealed that there's still more to come that's in transit and will arrive tomorrow. Turns out, for some reason, she thought it was 2.5 kilograms to the pound. I don't know if you can picture the amount of birdseed we have, but I'd say if we take into account how much is due to arrive tomorrow, I'll expect we'll have about the size of a small sofa. We have enough birdseed to last our entire lives. We can give it as inheritance after we die, from drowning in birdseed. We both spent a good part of the last hour crying with laughter amid our snacks. Every time I go into the hallway, I lose my crap a little bit. After 6 weeks in lockdown, I really think I might be losing my mind. The best bit? We threw some in the garden and the birds don't want to know. Little bastards. Okay, that is a good today I fudged up. However, given some of the posts I've read on here, both on and off YouTube, when you see today I fudged up by letting my wife buy the bird seed, your mind starts to go to different places than maybe the author was intending. Because let me tell you, what I was thinking she did was a lot grosser. But anyways, that's a cute little story.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.